first thing in the morning, I smell like hell. But the thing is, I tried to film this the other day and I was talking complete gibberish. It was not going well at all. And I messaged Maria last night and I said, and Liz, and I says, because this is a collaboration with Maria from the Richardsons Simple Living and Liz from Home Ed Looks Like This. I'll link the channels below. I messaged him last night and I was like, I don't think I'll be able to, I am doing it, but I don't think I'll be able to get it done till tomorrow night because, but this morning I'm up really early because the baby's had a really bad night. Another reason I look like hell. And I've just done chickens, pegged out, see me washing, and the dog has just been sick and eating it. So I'm just waiting to see if he's sick again. So I was like, right, I'll do my video now then. So the topic, my loves, is homeschool meetups, home ed meetups. What was I going to say? No idea. I think quite often I see people on Facebook groups saying how, you know, there's either no home ed groups round them or they've been to them and they didn't get on okay. So now they're worrying they're not cut out for home ed, or, you know, how on earth is their child going to socialise and all this stuff. So first off, I'll just say home ed meets do have their place. In the town after my hometown, there seems to be a huge home ed scene there, and they all seem to be very happy. So, you know, you can get thriving communities with lots and lots of home ed things going on. But for me, a lot of the stuff is miles and miles away. Or I've been to home ed meets and it's just a load of teenagers sat on their phones and the parents are talking, so it's more for the parents. Or I've been in, they've all sort of just stayed in their own groups and nobody's mixed. Or I've been to these huge home ed meetups where it's like a country walk or something, and because it's so huge and everybody seems to know each other already and they're all in their own little clusters, you just sort of feel like you're trailing on the end, and it was pointless. Now, but I'm quite lucky because I've met two home ed mums, one round here that I met recently and the one who lives like in the second nearest town, and we get on really well and our kids get on really well. So I've been quite lucky, and I'm not bothered about going to new meetups or these huge meetups anymore because I've found my people. But, and it is nice to find your people, because especially when you first start, it's nice to know you're not on your own. Not just for you, so you can sit and talk to the other parents and realise you're not on your own. But it's also nice for the kids to know they're not on their own, especially if, say, like, you've took them out of school and some of their mates have got a bit funny with them because the parents have filled their heads with crap. Like, you know, or they won't get a job when they're grown up, they'll be thick when they're grown up, which has happened to our kids. It's nice for them to meet other kids and say, you know, so-and-so's homeschooled as well, it's not just you. Or if they're little, and everywhere's going on about, oh, you'll be starting school soon, and won't school be marvellous, and da-da-da, you can say, well, so-and-so's not going to school either, so it's not just you, my love. And it's also nice for the social side, and it's nice for the parents in the social side. When we go to our home ed meet, because we've all known each other so long, the kids go off and play, and it's like, I'm socialising, no, this is my time socialising, no, me and the other parents talking. The thing you got to be aware of with home ed meets, and I've said this before, is just because people educate their kids in the same way you do doesn't mean they're always as nice as you are. I mean, you've heard about this before, but the most popular video, The Truth About the Home Ed Community, was about this mum in the original set of home ed parents I met, who was really quite toxic and nasty. She like picked us all off one by one. And I found out afterwards, after I made that video, after we fell out, that she was still slagging my kids off years after. And I also found out that she was being nasty about Bod, who's my third child. And at the time, he would have been 1.5. So we're talking about a baby. I mean, he was a bit difficult, but we found out since then it was because he was like legally blind. But that's a baby she was being nasty about, and that really put me off meeting new people for a long time. And the home ed community, the other side of my hometown I was telling you about, they put something on the other day about there wasn't going to advertise a home ed park meet anymore because it was run by a fascist who was anti-gay or something. So I don't know what cracked off there, but what I mean is you might encounter nasty people, and that doesn't mean you're not suited to home ed. That doesn't mean everybody's like that. You know, some people are lovely. It's just you've got to be aware that it's just like any other group of people. But if you don't get on with any home ed groups, or there's none around you, or you're like me and there's only like one or two you want to go to, you're not really bothered about doing it all the time, it doesn't have, as nice as they are and as nice as it is to feel like you're not on your own and stuff, they're not the be all and end all. They're really not. And as soon as you're secure in your decision of what you're doing, you don't feel as like you need to meet other home editors quite so much. And it's the same as school. School isn't the be all and end all and the only way kids can socialise. Pardon me. Home ed meets aren't the be all and end all and the only way the home ed kids can socialise. The vast majority of my kids socialising is local clubs. Things like Rainbow Scouts, Beavers, Sunday School, drama class, kids I know locally, our friends' kids. The vast majority of it is not home ed meets. So as lovely as they are, they're not essential. So don't think, oh, maybe I'm not quite right for this because we're not getting on with any other homeschoolers, or we don't seem to fit that certain, that clique. Oh, that's another thing. Me and the friend of mine my home ed friend who I've been friends with since the beginning, not the one I met recently, we was on about this. We was on about we don't seem to fit in any of the cliques because some are cliquey, and she says to me maybe we're more unschooly, and then we're like, because some of them unschool groups are run like fascist establishments. You're not unschooling because you're doing that. You're not schooling. You know what I mean? So even we, who possibly veteran home ed mums now, we feel like we don't fit in anywhere. And that's fine. One of the reasons we home ed is to not fit in and not conform. So yeah, that's it, my loves. They're lovely home ed meets, and keep trying if you've not found your group yet. But they're not the be all and end all. And a couple of home ed friends that you really get on with is better than hundreds and thousands where you don't really store where you stand with them. The dog's not been sick again, so I think it might be safe to take him in. I'll link the description in my description box, but I'll link Maria and Liz's channels, and I'll link my Patreon as well if you're interested. 75p a week. I'm vlogging over there. Oh, and I'm quite unfiltered on there because I see what a bloody lag on my Patreon. Mwah.